Today, we are privileged to have with us two distinguished personalities who have had a remarkable contribution not only in the field of education and beyond. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Dr. Sandeep Nair and Dr. Anand Deshpande ji. Sir, your presence today is a testament to your dedication to empowering youth and fostering academic excellence. It is my distinct honor and privilege to introduce our esteemed guest and keynote speaker, Dr. Sandeep Nair from Chanakya University. Dr. Sandeep Nair is a distinguished scholar and an influential figure in the field of education, boasting over 28 years of teaching experience spanning undergraduate to doctorate levels. He holds a postgraduate degree in economics and a PhD in management with expertise in communication, international businesses, and culture. His career has been marked by significant contributions to academic research and policy making. Today, at Chanakya University, Dr. Nair serves as Registrar Evaluation. He has been instrumental in driving forward several keynotes aimed to improving educational standards and fostering a culture of critical thinking and excellence. His leadership has helped Chanakya University achieve new heights and making it a beacon of knowledge and learning. Before joining Chanakya University, he was a founding member of Jain Group of Institutes in Belagavi, serving as Principal and Dean Academics. Additionally, he has been Cultural Ambassador for Rotary International to Germany and has conducted numerous corporate training and faculty development programs. Today, we are fortunate to have Dr. Nair with us to share his insights and wisdom. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a warm welcome to Dr. Anand Deshpande ji, who is presiding over the function. He graduated in mechanical engineering from B.V. Bhumreddy, Hubli, and earned his masters from IIT Kanpur and doctorate from NIT Surathkal. His illustrious career includes serving as Chancellor of VTU, where he significantly contributed to his high rankings and implementation of the National Education Policy 2020. At KLS Gokte Institute Technology, Professor Deshpande has held very key positions for a long period of time, and he has published over 74 research articles. He is a member of several professional bodies and has guided 10 PhD researchers. His career is marked by excellence in research, administration, and teaching, making him a beacon of knowledge. Today, we are fortunate to have Mr. Deshpande with us to share his insights and experiences. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a warm welcome to Dr. Sandeep Nair and Professor Deshpande ji.
Om Guru Bhyo Namaha. It's an honor beyond words to be here on this stage, on this occasion. The Centenary celebrations of Academy of Comparative Philosophy and Religion, founded by a teacher who became the teaching. It's an honor to share a few of my thoughts. It's definitely an honor to be in the dais as Professor Dr. A.S. Deshpande sir, who is known for his commendable work with universities as an educationist. I'm also honored with his invitation, especially from the office bearers of ACPR, especially a very learned, Anubhavi advocate Maruti Jildi sir, esteemed members of the audience, students. I'm also very happy to meet a good friend, Professor Ashutosh David, who celebrates his birthday today. Happy birthday, sir. Before I begin, it's about 40 minutes. I shall not take any minute more than that. To help me in this journey, I know you're all students, so therefore there are slides. Before I begin, let me, it's a tragedy that's befallen. We know what's happening due to the rains in parts of India. We pay our respects and hope that Mother Nature will be kind to us soon. In the memory of the lost souls, let me commence this particular session trying to understand beyond academic degrees and skills, what are values which make us competitively advantageous, which makes us better. Let's understand very importantly, there is knowledge, there is skills, and there are values or attitudes. Knowledge changes, skills change, values do not change. And standing here on this days, I wish to reflect on my learning about how these values have carried me so far. It's a great honor. My credentials are established because I've been invited today to address such a learned gathering. So therefore, there must have been something that I reflected with my association in teaching with esteemed colleagues and my understanding of Sri Gurudev Ranade's teaching. So let me begin without much of setting a context. Now, presentation here, beyond degree and skills, values for the new era. What is the world we are living in? Next slide, please. Very quickly, the world as we understand. It's an equal world, it's a flat world. I'll be communicating because I know most of you are advocates and management graduates. So allow me, considering the time and also the content, I shall proceed a little faster. It's an equal world, it's a flat world. So what does it mean? Don't go by the word, I'm trying to tell you what is a learning for us, especially student. It's an equal world, you're equal to anybody. That means you don't have any excuse or justify failure. You're as good as anybody anywhere. So it's an equal world. It's an expressive world. Very unfortunately, new words, new languages, new jargons emerge. Sadly, the difference between parliamentary and unparliamentary is disappearing. We used to have a word, think before you speak. These days, they seem to be thinking after they speak. Or maybe thought has become talk. But then it's expressive. Social media is scary sometimes. It's an information age. We are getting submerged with information. You have no idea the kind of social media barrage that comes to us. It's a knowledge era. What's the difference? There's so much of information. Do you know what to choose, what to select? We get lost in the internet. So beware. Why it's a knowledge era? Wealth is an idea. India is producing unicorns and unicorns are ideas. So how to take an idea, make it work. That's about knowledge era. So literally knowledge is wealth today. Democracy. We are becoming one and the world is embracing democracy, which means vote banks and vested interests get created. Democracy is also perhaps the most civilized way of governance. We should be happy about it. Digital nations. Very soon Facebook, I don't know, maybe is one of the largest nations in the world. You're all called digital natives, which means we have created our own country and subcultures within that. So therefore, digital nations are important. The army is getting into digital mode of trying to understand warfare. Urbanism, the rural is getting ignored. 60% of world's population will move into urban areas. The challenges are there to see for all of us. Environment, I just picked up, there are some things lying around. Please note, you'll be measured on the basis of your carbon credit or carbon footprint. You leave behind something that's considered waste, you're leaving behind a carbon footprint. You shall be measured. I meet a lot of people who say they have personal carbon auditors, which means somebody like Ricky Cage who travels all over the world says, I have appointed a carbon auditor and he audits my carbon footprint every year. The point I'm coming to is, please note, how green are we in our conduct and thought is important. We will have to save environment because there is no planet B. So every action of us is measured based on whether it's a credit or a footprint. Cultural identities, hyper identities of culture, identity politics, narrative. I was just coming today, I saw a young man riding a bike and there was a very interesting thing written on the number plate of his bike. It had written Kattar Maratha. I got a little scared. Understand, identities are getting stronger. I'm not judging anything, I'm just saying the nature of the world. Alright? Consumerism, everything is for sale. Everything, sab kuch bikta hai. There was a kind of OLX actually made a tagline, sab kuch bikta hai. So sad, so controversial. Somebody said, how can sab kuch bik sakta hai? They changed it actually, but the attitude seems to be same. We seem to be consuming everything. Health concerns after COVID, I don't have to explain anything. Threat perception. I'm not talking about terrorism. We are scared about everything. There is threat perception all over. So this is the world we are living in. So then, how do we explain this world? What does it mean to us? Very beautifully, the US College of War in the 80s came up with a concept of VUCA world, volatile, uncertain, complex and ambiguous. It went on, they were actually scanning the world on the basis of the nature of the emerging realities, political, military realities. But in 2018, Jamais Casio, a South American futurist, came out with a concept saying that the world is more of a Barney or a Bina world. Very interesting. How it took VUCA and took all these things to explain the nature of the modern era is defined as BANI. I'll quickly go into it. I'm coming to, in the context of all this, as youngsters, as people, how does value define us and how values help us grow. Next one, please. Next slide, please. Okay, the nature of modernity. It's called Barney. You can refer it. I mean, it's quickly. B is brittle. Brittle is not fragile. Fragile is something delicate. Brittle is deception of strength. Something which looks very strong. Beyond a point of stress, collapses suddenly. Look at relationships. Look at people. Look at companies. Look at structures. Look at nature. Look at governments. Seems to be so brittle. They are collapsing. Understand that. Relationships are so very brittle. People are. Health. So therefore the world is very brittle. You don't know what. Well, that's about brittle until it comes in. So therefore we are living in a system that deceives us to be very strong, but may not be really strong beyond a certain point of time. Are we aware of that? Next one is anxious. Anxiety is not fear. There's a word called FOMO, fear of missing out. I asked somebody, what is fear of missing out? We want everything now, everything at once. There's so much of confusion. What will happen now? Anxiety is a certain kind of fear without knowing what to do. When you have fear, at least you know what to be done. Anxiety is fear over nothing, perhaps a confusion about the course of action. That is anxiety. We are living in a very, very anxious world. If you don't trust me, read the newspapers. Look at those breaking news every day evening. They will convince you the world will come to an end tomorrow. But then that's anxiety. That's N, non-linear. Non-linear. The cause and effect seems to be very, very disproportionate. We really don't know how COVID started. They say it started in China, but not very clear, but it started in a lab. It started in a wet market, we don't know. But it closed down the world. So things can bring us to. It's non-linear. The cause and effect equations are not predictable. Today, everybody, predictive analysis, data analysis becoming very important. Why? Because everybody in the business of predictability. But then the point is, how correct are we in terms of predicting? I asked somebody the other day, he was a statistician from USA, very young, very, very brilliant professor. I said, I'm asking you as a statistician, just to give you an information because you understand, we just had an election got over. Just before the election results came up, everybody was announcing or projecting what the results would be. And all of you know, everybody went wrong. So I asked a statistician, why did all these pathology, all predictions go wrong about this election results in June 4? So he told me something. You can't predict. Increasingly, life and things are becoming unpredictable. Even statisticians are finding it very challenging. And Indian elections, he said, nobody can predict. But if a statistician is saying predictability is slightly a kind of a mirage, then we are in a non-linear world. Incomprehensible, ununderstandable. If I can ask you a question, most of your students, why are you studying? I mean, do you know why you're studying? I don't know. Think about it. Forget that. Why do we so eagerly get into social media? What is the purpose of social media? I'm not saying good or bad. But do I know why should I get into, what is that, WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram? Social media. To build a community, to create confusion, to project big, to fight my insecurity? I don't know. Why am I doing something? What am I doing? I don't know. As a teacher, when I go to a class, do I clearly know what am I trying to prepare my students for? Now, as a world, do we know where are we going to? So therefore, it's becoming very incomprehensible because there's so much coming upon us. Especially ethics is an issue that's becoming a very important concern. Now, yes, next please. I'm aware of time. You can always stop me and ask me questions later. Now, therefore, in a world like this, skills are classified into 21st century skills, NASCOM skills, World Economic Forum skills, the soft and the technical and the human skills. Good. Knowledge. Professors are here, they know 35% of the information gets outdated every third year. You know the kind of outdatation of information? So that's how it is. In that context, what should be our anchor? What should we be holding on to? What defines us as people? What gives us a purpose? From all the learnings of whatever I know, in this ACPR and the literature we have inherited, let me share my experience. For ease of understanding, I've taken 8 values which shall help us navigate a very uncertain world, defined as Dharma, Satya, Jnana, Icha, Viveka, Vinaya, Kriya and Ananda. Give me some time to go a little deeper into each of them. I shall not give you the meaning. I said, how do you perceive it? Next one, please. Dharma. What is Dharma? I am not getting into Hinduism and already. Dharma, yesterday there was a beautiful interpretation of that. Dharayet iti dharma. You just show a beautiful performance. Not a performance, an experience, an anubhuti, an anubhava. Swami Vivekananda was on stage. What was he wearing? What are you wearing? I find you wearing a blazer. I find you wearing a uniform. What are you wearing? Not the dress, the thoughts, the beliefs, the attitude. What makes you what you are is a dharma. There is a Vidyarthi dharma, there is a Shishya dharma, there is a Guru dharma. So, what makes you what you are? Have you ever asked that question? They said, I am a teacher of some 20 plus years of experience. What makes me that? The degrees and the doctorates? I don't think so. What makes me that? An arrested group of students in the class was scared of internal assessment marks? I don't know. But then the point is, each of you have to ask, Dharma is what makes you human, what makes you student, what makes you law student, what makes you a son, a daughter, brother, a citizen, a friend. Dharayet iti dharma. So dharma is what makes you. Few questions. That which you wear, whatever you wear, everything, not the costume. We get obsessed with that. But what are you wearing in your mind, in your soul? That is your dharma. That which makes you valuable. We talk about values. If I would ask you, how do you define value? It's a very interesting thing. Lack of time, but I'll go ahead with that. What is a value? A value is what makes you valuable. Not for yourself, but for where you are, where you belong to. What makes me valuable to my students? Why should they listen to me? Why should they obey me? What makes me valuable to my family? Why should they belong to me? What makes me valuable to my friend? So value is what makes you valuable to others. Please understand, that is a proposition you should have. That which makes you independent. We celebrate Swami Vivekananda's birthday as National Youth Day. Who is a youth? How do you define youth? I mean, in India, even if you're 45, 46, you're a youth. I'm 52, but I think I'm a youth. It's not age. Youth is sense of independence. Are you independent in your thought? Do you ask questions? Do you have your mind? Do you think clearly? Or are we obsessed and are we still dependent on something called as a mobile phone and internet? How independent are we from the bondages? I'm not asking you to be a saint, but the thing is that, do we express our independence in any which way? Do we create a thought of our own? That's exactly what I'm saying. So therefore, what makes you independent? That what you wear. And because that gives you what you wear gives you an identity. That which defines your responsibility for the role. You know, keeping with the costumes and dress, we see people with different professions with different costumes. For example, a monk, a sage, a rishi, a sannyasi. We just saw a saffron robe. Why a saffron robe? Saffron represents fire, and fire is an element of nature which purifies everything that's put into it. It's not easy. You can't wear a saffron robe and walk around like a. You have to earn it. So the point I'm saying is, it's important. What defines your responsibility as a student? You play a role of a student, a friend, a brother, sister, son, daughter, citizen. What would be your responsibility? That you shall wear. Therefore, my friends, dharma is what makes you what you are. So therefore, what is that you're wearing? Your thoughts travel, your physique travels, you as a personality travel, we understand you. So therefore, do people look at you and say, you fit to your role, you are appropriate to your role. That's what dharma is. Dharayet iti dharma. What makes you what you are? Please have a clear understanding of that. Next one, Satya. These are phrases which you know, ultimate truth. I don't know, I'm not a scholar, but I'm trying to tell you how as youngsters we perceive these. Don't confine these beautiful concepts to some libraries and say only saints will listen to it. No. You have to understand it in the context of modernity, to your age, to your learning. What is Satya? Satya is the ultimate realization, the ultimate truth. You call it Brahman, God, the Almighty, fine. But then, how do I realize it? The pursuit. Truth is a pursuit. It is something which is much beyond. But then, the meaning is the negation of finality. I am presenting to you so much. Please don't accept me in totality. I don't know. This is my perception of what I've learned. Therefore, when I'm talking to you, when I'm talking to students, when I'm talking anybody, do I impose my ideas as final and say, this is it? Then it's not true. Because it's a pursuit. I present what I know, I present what I'm capable of. I listen to what my friend is capable of and what he knows. Together we shall explore. Today we seem to be seeing a lot of narratives, a lot of talk, lot of debates in beautiful English, trying, or in any language, trying to say this is a fine. If I am saying that this is the last word, then that's not true. So when I say Satya, please explore along with your friends and teachers, how do you proceed? Never come to finality about everything. It's a collaborative effort, because Satya is a journey. It's a pursuit towards what is ultimate. So what is the ultimate? What is Satya here? I mean, never impose anything as final. It's a part of learning. Always receive. Ask questions. And there, that is asking questions, is trying to pursue truth. As students, please understand, curiosity is what will take you far and very far. An organizational psychologist was telling me that a child of 4 years is capable of asking around 200 questions every day. So what do the parents do? They are tired. They take the child and put them in a creche or a kindergarten. Imagine 30 children in a class, 200 questions. What will the teacher do? The teacher will make sure the child will never ask questions easily. So therefore we stop asking questions as we graduate and go further. So the point is, Satya is a pursuit. Ask, you shall get it. Which stimulates search for knowledge. Right? Next one. You have much bigger people coming to speak to you, so I'm aware of that. You can always ask me questions. Are you listening to me? Yeah? Okay, good. Jnana. Sometimes the lecturer, the faculty takes us, so I'm going a little fast, but I'm aware of time. Jnana. That which is known is jnana. Sanskrit derivations, I've just put, not complicating the slides. That which is known is jnana. The conscious, the jnana. Attributes of achievement. You know, you just experienced Swami Vivekananda here. There are 3 levels of learning. It's written there. I have read about Swami Vivekananda. Many people have read about Swami Vivekananda. Can we become that? No. Because what we have done is understood Swami Vivekananda at a cognitive level, at a thought level. That was at an experiential level. So the point is, please understand, internalization, experiencing of knowledge makes it a skill. Attributes is achievement. Why are we learning anything? We learn anything. What are the attributes of an advocate? What's the attribute of a marketing manager? What's the attribute of a doctor? You learn so much, you inherit a certain qualities and traits which gets expressed as behavior. That's called attribute. I had a very interesting discussion sometimes, sir will agree to it. It was a discussion or an interaction with an IIT professor, director in fact. A student, an engineering student asked an IIT director, IIT Dharwad director, so tell me something, even I am an engineer, what is so great about your IIT graduates? Why is there so much of song and dance about it? Even I am an engineer, how different is the experience of learning in an IIT? So director looked at him and said, give me 1 minute. And he told him, we face this experience every day. We don't say all the children who get into IIT are good engineering material. We are very troubled by that, but they're all there admitted through IIT, those tests. So I went to a certain coaching center which produces a lot of IIT qualified fellows and asked them, see, you seem to have a very high rate of success and you send a lot of children to IITs, they qualify your coaching and they come in. But we find them in the class, they are very different. They don't seem to have that attribute of becoming an engineer. So that head of the center told him, I believe, see, we promised these children that we'll help them get into IIT. We never promised them we'll make them engineers. It's different. That's an attribute. When you learn, it has to come out as a behavior. That is jnana. Realization beyond cognition. We have a lot of bookish knowledge. We read a lot of books. But do we experience that? Do we live it? That is jnana. Credibility through capabilities. See, especially these days, everybody is smarter. Please understand, we learn especially values through demonstration. Nobody learns values through, talks and things like that. So the point is credibility through capabilities. I told you, I'm feeling so credible today because I was invited by this sacred institution. The scholar helping me or sitting with me on the desk is an established academician, an institution builder. I felt happy because maybe a little bit of my credibility enhanced. How do you see your credibility being established? How do you create references for yourself? How do you become acceptable to successful, recognized people? Work on that, then you shall have what is jnana. Please understand, these days children say, we want to make a lot of money. Please don't say that. Never make money, always earn money. Earn everything. Attention, knowledge, money, everything. So everything comes with a lot of effort. And what you earn through credibility is what is called as jnana, because it shows as attributes. Next, please. Ichcha, right? Ichcha is a desire, as you say, but I've taken it as a sankalpa, the commitment. What are we committed for? What is the purpose we are doing? Four very important ichcha or a commitment. You do sankalpa, no? What has to be done. We go to temples and we make a sankalpa. Some good may happen to us. But then, what is a sankalpa? What is a commitment? What am I trying to say? When you're committed something to it so strongly, then what happens is you give a new meaning to it. Let me explain because all of you know, say cricketing. MS Dhoni is supposed to have invented some helicopter shot. The point is, he commits himself so much to what he's doing, he enriches it. It's like this. I see all of you having a phone. We are living in a world called co-creation. Customization is over, personalization is over, co-creation. A product is made and given to you, you can evolve it further. I see a lot of bikes and phones getting decorated. Do you decorate your institution like that? Do you decorate your degree and learning to that? Do you enrich a classroom experience like that? So that is what commitment to enrich. In this context, there are four very important elements. Personal evolution. Are we evolving every day? Professional excellence. Are we looking at, as I said, every profession has an expected attributes to go with that. Who is a teacher? Teacher is not somebody who comes and gives a lecture. Teacher, as we understand, is a guru, somebody who inspires. Who is a doctor? Somebody, you look at him, medicines never cure actually, it's a doctors you cure. But then that credibility has to be, who is an engineer? Engineer is a problem solver. So the point is, how do we commit to become what we are trying to be? Social enrichment, a very beautiful thing. Today we see natural disasters because resources are being depleted and we see things. But then we may not be actually digging up a mountain, digging up the earth and taking all the minerals. But as an individual, living in a society, am I enriching it or am I just taking it from the society? What is my contribution? Am I exploiting society in the way I am doing in my own personal way? Am I enriching it? So social outcome and social enrichment is very important. Finally, collective empowerment. Olympics is going on. We are happy because people are making us proud. Now, what is a collective empowerment? In any which way, because of me, does my institution, does my society, does my nation, does my family feel a little empowered, feel a little good? Please understand one thing, especially education institutions, the best education institutions across the world are only enriched and empowered by alumni and students, right? So therefore it's nothing else. So in that context, in any which way, whatever I am associated with, is it getting empowered? Is my nation getting empowered because of me? Is my society, my belonging, my profession, my organization getting empowered? This is what we have to make a sankalpa, a commitment to enrich where we are. Next one. Viveka, wisdom. How I understand is positioning priorities. Do we know who is an educated person? If I were to ask you a question, maybe you will tell me something, but lack of time, I will present my view on that. An educated person is somebody who knows what he knows and what he does not know, and there's no confusion there. If I try to pretend things about what I don't know, then I don't think. Most of the time we are trying to be experts in everything. I know what I know, and I absolutely know what I don't know, and I make no confusion about it. That's because I would learn what I don't know. In that way, I have my priorities. It's not important to be a jack of all. It's not important to know everything. You should not know everything, because that's what life is. So Viveka is understanding what needs to be learned, what need not be learned, what needs to be known, what need not be known. Newspapers. If I just give you any newspaper and say, please select news that are useful, news that are truthful, news that are fair, and news that you enjoy reading, in about 3.5 minutes you'll throw the paper away, because there is no such thing. So the point I'm coming to is understand what is needed and what is not needed. The power of discretion. 4 things there. I'm connecting it to Bani here. Faith. Faith. Do we believe in what we are doing? Do we believe that it has to be done the way it is? For example, I'm asking a simple question. Latest survey says that even IITs and I'm just giving examples of IITs, have had problem with placement of students. All right? Children or students who are very highly educated learn. Some of the best institutions have a very high rate of personal, suicides and things like that. The point I'm coming to is, a brilliant student or a student finds it very insecure, finds his future very uncertain, because he doesn't know what will happen. Why? Because there is no faith in what he or she is doing. Do you completely believe what you're doing? Do you have faith in that? That's a question we have. Empathy. How do I learn empathy? There's a beautiful gesture of greeting in our society which is called Namaste. Namaste is the greatest exhibition of empathy. Because somebody told me, Namaste means Na Mama Aste. It's not me. That's important. It's you. So when I clasp my hand and say Namaste, I'm saying not me, it's you. What a great sign of empathy. understanding that you are more important than me. Resilience, Dharati, Dhriti, earth, mother, resilience, ability to take work, ability to hold on, ability not to break down. How resilient we are. There was a great boxer called Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay. He became one of the greatest, not because his punches were very strong, they were, but then he could take a lot more than what he could give. So therefore, victory or strength is not what you can give, but what you can take. How much of failure can you take and learn from it defines your strength and growth. Be very resilient. And excellence. Excellence is a destination, improvisation is important. Everything that you're doing is some sort of improvisation. For example, in our profession, am I repeating the same thing day in and day out? I will get bored and students will find it out. If there is no improvisation, then there is no point in doing anything. If tomorrow is not better than today, why say tomorrow at all? But we do, because we need to improve life. This is Viveka. Next please. Vinaya. There are two very beautiful concepts in our culture, which is called Yajna and Runa. Yajna, what we perform. The marriage is an yajna, naming, everything is a... Yajna is a gratitude. Runa is a debt. We are very, very closely associated with two concepts. The gratitude for being and the debt for becoming. I am here. I have been brought here, invited here, I'm here. I am grateful to so many people. I am grateful to you for listening to me. I am grateful for everybody who brought me here. And tomorrow I shall become something. And then I have a debt to pay. I have somebody to thank for. So please understand, let's always be very, very conscious about yajna and gratitude and debt. How do I understand it here? The gratitude for being and the debt for becoming, but then responsibility towards heritage. India has over 2000 years of continuous civilizational consciousness. No other country can claim that pride. But are we even aware of that? Forget protecting it. Are we aware of that? Am I aware of where and how did I come? Every new generation is smarter. Every new generation is more better than the previous one. But am I acknowledging it? Am I understanding it? So therefore, the responsibility towards my past. And the next one is benevolence towards dependence. We shall hand it over to the future. My children, my students are dependent on me. Am I benevolent towards them? Am I arrogant towards them? Do I throw my power and control them, or do I take care of them? So this is called Vinaya, sense of humility. All learning, the end and the beginning is humility, you know that. But how do I understand it? A sense of protecting my heritage. Next one, Kriya, tapas. Yesterday this word came. What is a tapas? Tapas is not going over and sitting under a tree in the Himalayas. That is a different kind of tapas for a different purpose. Every word. I met Arun Yogiraj, the man who made the Ram Lalla statue in the Ayodhya Mandir. It was a beautiful interaction. And the other day we had Ricky Cage performing. He's a multiple award, Grammy awardee. Something beautifully came up. Look at Gurudev. What is Kriya? It is tapas. Why? How do I understand? It's an action of the soul. It's a power of control and creation. Why should you work? For two very important reasons. I should work to control my inner sense of purpose and also to create something new, an idea. I've never created anything, but I'm able to create a perspective. So Kriya is important. When the work is joy, rewards are incidental. When the work itself is joy, what happens after that? There was a beautiful question asked to Swami Vivekananda about exam fear. When you enjoy studies, exam is coincidental. It just happens, comes and goes. But do you enjoy study? That's the most important thing. Last one, I like that. The artist became the art. The teacher became the teaching. When you see great people and how successful, you hardly differentiate they and what they do. Gurudev, he is not a teacher, he is the teaching. Every day since morning, and yesterday we know the Sampradaya. He not only came out with a perspective, it became a culture, it became a heritage. So that's the power of Kriya. You commit yourself in a way that you're doing tapas, you shall become what you're doing. So that we asked the question to Arun Yogiraj, it must have been such a stress to him to make this Sri Ram idol, and people are, no, I didn't do anything. I have worked continuously for 36 hours on that. I've also just gone there, looked at it and come back because he was calling me and doing it. Now that is tapasya. That is action of the soul. Some pictures you will see who represent that. Next one, sir. Ananda. Finally, I leave you with a lot of joy because I'm stopping it now. Ananda is unified consciousness, happiness. Everything comes there. I'll explain what is unified consciousness. Just students are there. Are you happy playing football, as Swami Vivekananda said, or are you happy listening to a class? Football, obviously. Are you happy dancing, or are you happy sitting in a class? Dancing, of course. Are you happy eating food together, or are you happy sitting and listening to lecture? For all this is common. You enjoy dancing more, you enjoy eating a feast, and you enjoy, why? Because when you're playing, there's a unified consciousness. As a team, you have a purpose. There's unity of your thought. When you're dancing, imagine one person does something wrong, the tune goes off. So you're paying attention. You are there in the present. Unified consciousness. Can we bring the same unified consciousness into whatever we are doing? Can we think alike? Can we bring us together at the level of thought? And that is Ananda. That is joy. All expression, all purpose of life is to be happy. There's a beautiful Upanishadic story. Why do people take their own lives? There's a word called khudkushi. I was looking at what is the meaning of khudkushi? Where is kushi there? We are talking about a tragic event. In the beautiful interpretation, Upanishad says that our inner nature is Ananda. When we are not able to accept pain, we get devastated. Because the nature is that. So when the nature is as such, why don't we just experience it? So Ananda, which means the joy of being, the art of becoming. Please understand, we have evolved so far. We don't know where we started. Some people say Africa, some people say Europe, but we've evolved so far. Please understand, we evolved from primates. Then why do we still have primates? Because evolution is a conscious process. If I don't know how I'm changing, then that's not a good growth. So therefore, be conscious of growing. Be conscious of learning. You will enjoy. The true nature of existence, the ultimate stage of internalization. After everything, beyond everything, are you happy? And finally, what is joy? What is Ananda? It's about 1:15 on 2nd August 2024. If you are at 1:15 August 2nd 2024, you're happy. If you're thinking about 1:30, you'll not be happy. If you're thinking about 10:30 in the morning, you'll not be happy. So are you in the present? That is Ananda. Trying to be present, trying to enjoy the experience of being together. That is Ananda. And on that note, I leave you all happy because I'm ending this talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. It was a pleasure.
जय श्री गुरुदेव। नमस्ते। इस सत्र के प्रमुख वक्ता प्रोफेसर नायर जी और उपस्थित मान्यवर और विद्यार्थी मित्र, of course I know I'm standing between you and the lunch. It's a big challenge.
no doubt. But undoubtedly, it's a matter of great pleasure and honor for me to be the part of this wonderful event associated with Sri Gurudev. Of course, presently I come from Jamkhandi, the Pavitra Sthan where Gurudev was born. No need to tell you more about the divine Paramarth Mandir there and the place where Gurudev ji got the Drashtant. Of course, I moved to Jamkhandi just in the year 2023, just completing 1 year after completing a long tenure of 35 years with the KLS Gupta Institute of Technology and also a brief stint of 3 years with Vishwesvaraya Technology University. Of course, the government of Karnataka decided then to start 7 new universities at little remote district places where they felt that the education is to be improved and more support need to be extended to the students over there. And this particular university, the Bagalkot University, was started in the month of March 2023. And maybe it was the Icha of Gurudev. This is the only university which was moved from the district headquarters Bagalkot to Jamkhandi. All other 6 universities are placed at the district places, but this is something which I think is a divine indication. Of course, Jamkhandi is a small place, maybe around 68,000 plus population, subdivision, but also is a place where you find that very good academic ambience could be built. Got the coverage of almost 80 colleges spread over 7 districts, and is a typical new university with minimal government support, you could say. Got a very small campus of 4 acres. A nice building in place, no doubt. And as you all know, the government has got its own issues, difficulties, and they don't have enough money to support us for the development of the university, but we have our own funds which we get through fees, and of course the salary component is taken care of by the government. So there are many challenges, very few people on the rolls. So we started the journey. It was a big challenge for me, because the people of that region were looking at us with a great hope. They wanted something good might come out of this university, the Bagalkot University, which is situated at Jamkhandi. Yes, the government university, I will tell you, is a wonderful place for you to work because you are really contributing something to the society. The kind of fees, the kind of education that we provide to the poor students, it is something really great. We had no teachers, very few teachers, couple of teachers on rolls. We offer almost 8 postgrad programs on the campus and 80 colleges and close to 20,000 students spread across these 80 colleges. So we started, and of course there were challenges, but I said we will go ahead. No, even if the government is not supporting us to that extent, we can take off. I just interact with the students over there. You will not believe that 80% of the enrollment in Jamkhandi and around is almost for girl students. And especially for the master's programs, it is more than 80%. So I just inquired why it's happening so. Then in most of the rural places and villages, the parents are not very keen on sending their daughters to the bigger places. And you will not believe, the students who are studying in our campus, in the university campus, they're all grad level toppers. But somehow the parents, the rural places, kill that particular, like the viewpoints are there. And I think these universities, these institutes are really serving on those lines. Even today we have the students traveling from remote villages where still the buses don't go. The girls walk for 6 to 7 kilometers, then they get the bus, then they come to the college. And we are supporting all these kids. We have adjusted a timetable to suit them. And even what we have done there is that, since we are finding the shortage of teachers, the staff, especially staff, support staff, I have started with a concept of earn while you learn. This is a concept which has been already initiated by UGC a long time back. So we identified few good students, the needy students. they needed some financial support. Many students stay in the hostels. They don't have enough money to pay for their food also. So I said, okay, fine, you come. After your college hours, for 2 hours you work in the library. For 2 hours you work in the office. For 2 hours you should be there in the departmental office. And you'll be paid 5,000 to 8,000 per month. And you'll not believe, this has worked like magic. I have the excellent team of people working with me. We have few full-time employees, but these kids are much more efficient, perfect, the learning curve is very fast, and if need arises, they are prepared to overstay. And I think, this is something which we could achieve. There are many such things. Again, these are the remote colleges. There's a typical thought process which exists in most of the universities across country, let me tell you frankly. The research of the doctoral studies is to be done only by university professors. We said, why? If there is a college in a place like Ilkal or Badami or Bagalkot, and they have few good qualified teachers, good research profile, good facilities, the management is prepared to support them, why can't we have a research center and permit those teachers to guide the PhD students and take up the research? Why it cannot be done? And I scanned the UGC norms. UGC norms say absolutely not a problem. It is not that only university teachers need to do the research. Anybody can take up the research provided the certain conditions are complied. We said done. And you will not believe, Bagalkot University is probably one of the first universities in the state to introduce this research-centric concept across the university system. And amongst these new 7 universities which we started, after the government started last year, we are the best performing university in terms of the academic quality, the focus. I identified few teachers, the retired teachers, the practicing teachers. I said, you come to the university, spend some time with us, spend some time with the students. And that is really working again. Because, these things can happen good in the place like Bangalore or Mumbai. You find so many people around. But Jamkand is a small place. I went to their homes. I said, sir, you're just retired and sitting at home. Please come, spend 2 hours, 3 hours with us. Now it's worked so well that I got almost 6 teachers, the retired teachers, visiting university every day, flexible, and pay them on hourly basis. And that has become a win-win kind of a situation for us. So the point here is that, in spite of odds, in spite of constraints, we always complain, this is not there, that's not there, we cannot move forward. Manpower crunch, financial issues. No, you can overcome. It is possible if you could really plan and start moving forward. Friends, as you know, I'll not take more time. Education is evolving from version 1.0 to 5.0. We say it's the chat GPT kind of an era. But the point is that here also you see that so much of content is available, the information is available online and across various the platforms. The point is that the total platform or total focus is going to change as we move on. In the days to come, I don't think it's fair on us to ask the students to come to the classes from 9 to 5 or 10 to 11. No. They will be studying, and in case if they need some mentorship or some the difficulty solving sessions, they will come to the institute or the universities. The teacher's role is going to be a little different. As Professor Sandeep just mentioned, that a teacher's role would be more like a curator or a facilitator. That's what is going to happen as we move on. The point is here that, as he rightly said, that the shelf life of what we learn has come down very much. For example, a person who graduated just 3 years back, today's ChatGPT thing is not known to him much. So the point is, technologies change, new the topics or new domains come up. But most important point to be remembered here is that the fundamentals and basics won't change. What is expected or what is required in the universities and the institutes, of course, also the students should know about it, is that always focus on basics and fundamentals. If you start working onto your learning process from the basics and fundamentals, you would be a perfect person into it. Whatever may be the new tool, you can immediately capture it. That's possible. And that's exactly we see in IITs.
In IITs, the maximum focus is always given on basics and fundamentals. Here in most of the universities, we always take pride in teaching them the advanced thermodynamics. अरे बेटा पहले basic thermodynamics पे focus कर दो, advanced he can learn on his own. That we don't agree. Here we would like to go for the level 4, level 5 courses. No focus on level 1, level 2, level 3 courses. So this is something which is needed. So always focus on basics and fundamentals, and you would be winners as we move on. The point is that India, of course, is good, no doubt about it. If you look at the rankings, India stands almost at the third number in terms of research. In terms of research, in the sense, the amount of information, the creation of knowledge which India is doing is much great. But when it comes to like patents, now of course everybody speaks about the patents. Even there also we are doing better now. I understand we stand almost at number 7 in terms of patents. It's a fairly good jump. And in terms of the citations is something which defines the quality of research. Because how many people, how many researchers, how many the users are referring to your work, citations, and there we stand at number 9. These are good numbers. Good story stops here. But when it comes for the ranking of our country in terms of innovation, we stand at number 40. The reason is that whatever research or whatever good work we are doing, it is not getting translated into the product or some value-based form which could be used by the end user or the society. Today, if we go to US or most of these, Japan or Korea, most of the research problems are suggested by the end user, the industries or the corporates, and the people who work onto that. But if you look at our country, 90% of the PhD students, the doctoral students, work on the problem statements which are defined by them or some academicians. But whether it is really going to hit the shop floor, not many people could answer on to that. I think this is a big change that needs to be done. You always, Dr. Mashirkar, he always mentions in his talks, Indian mind is great. The zero was given to the world by an Indian mind. The first email, it was a program written in Fortran by an Indian student, Shiva Ayyadurai, in the year 1987. The email was, invented by an Indian. In spite of giving all these wonderful contributions, we are not the leaders in terms of technology in the world. The reason? Because of the mindset. The mind is great, but the mindset needs an update or a modification. And I think here we need the academic institutes, the universities, they need to come together. What is required today in the institutes as well as the universities, that we need the mix of 3 ingredients: education, experience, and exposure. All these 3 ingredients must be added in an institute or in an university to make a perfect model. Somebody asked about the examination, to Swamiji. The examination system, again, if you look at the present examination system, it's more to assess your memory retention ability or kind of a rote learning or whatever you call it as. But if you change this examination pattern, things can be a little different. I had tried this experiment in Gokte and it was a wonderful experience for us. Ask the students, always I strongly feel that the examination system can decide your way of learning. You start asking the questions to the students in the examinations on applications. Don't ask him define, explain, derive, write a short note or no. If this is an aircraft is to be designed for these conditions, I'm just taking an engineering example. So this is going to experience a temperature conditions of this kind, the wind conditions of this kind. Okay, the vibrations are going to be this kind. This is the seismic record of the regions where it is likely to be there around. So give all the, and how you will design an aircraft. So let him think on those lines. And if you start asking these type of questions in the examination, students will start preparing on their own forward. For example, even for us also, every year some body comes for the inspection to the institute. And we know these are the kind of assessments they are going to do. So we start preparing for that. It is natural. Similarly, you start assessing the students for these kind of ingredients. Of course, teach them, discuss with them on these lines itself, and the things can really be a different. That's possible. So the students are good. We always complain about the students. This is called, I think, the Generation Alpha. Generation Z was from 1997 to 2010, and 2010 onwards, whatever kids are born, they're called a Generation Alpha. This Generation Alpha, there are some plus points and there are some minus points. The plus points are like they're quick learners, they're little demanding, patience levels are very less, the thing should happen immediately, they're frank, they have an opinion. He is not good, this is not good. For example, if you ask somebody to just ask your child to say hello to somebody, why I should say hello to him? He can question you, possible, because he has an opinion. So this is a generation, but also they have got some positive points which we see. If you teach them, if you connect to them in their lingo, they would certainly make a difference. Teach them with reference to what they see around. Don't teach them with reference to something which they are not seen. But teach them the basics and fundamentals. Basically, what is required today is that we need to learn because things are going to change. Even in engineering, we had a very strong debate once, I think few days back at Delhi. I was advocating that take out this branches concept. Why do we need branches concept? Engineer, that's all. The basket of courses should be available. Let everybody study the required courses. And ultimately, who is an engineer? He is basically a person who knows how to apply the principles of science and maths to do something good for the society. And of course, he needs little common sense. These are few ingredients required for an engineer. So that's good enough. Everybody is running after computer science. Not many take us for mechanical engineering. Why? See, those branches, those, the barriers, almost they're not there. And it's time for us to say that engineer is engineer. That's all. What he has learned, how he has prepared, basically he knows how to learn, how to analyze, how to apply, how to deploy, how to reason. That's good enough. Yes. And of course, let me tell you quickly about our Bagalkot University. What we have done is that our Ghosha Vakya is very simple. We have said that Jnanam, Kaushalyam, Evam Manavata. You require knowledge, you require skills, but above all, you need, human touch. That's very important. And also, humility and humbleness. I think that's something very, very important. Humility and humbleness, ethics, values. I just close with a small story. Shiv Khera, in one of his books, he has written this story, his experience when he visited Singapore almost 8-10 years back. He got down off the Singapore airport and got into the taxi and gave him the business card. He asked him to drop him to some place. And the taxi driver took him to the place, and just before they reached the last point, he took a round and then he said, this is the place where you have to get out. And then Mr. Khera looked at the meter, it was showing $11. So he asked me, $11, no, please pay me $10. He said, why? The meter is showing $11 and asking $10, why? He said, no sir, it was my mistake. I should have taken it directly to this point. Since I was not aware, I took you round and this $1 is extra for that. I should not charge you for that. He said, sir, I'm a taxi driver, but I am the ambassador of my country. Because the ethics, the values which we exhibit across to the foreigners or to the people around, that would reflect the culture of my country. And this is something which is very important. The knowledge, your degrees do matter, but what's more important is that the values, ethics, honesty that you exhibit in your behavior. And humbleness and humility, I think that takes the counts ahead of everybody. Again, a small incident which was told to me by my friend professor from IIM Ahmedabad. He said, of course, these IIM guys, always they have, collar tie, the top guys in the country. And but so what these all professors from IIM, they sat together and कुछ तो करना चाहिए, इन लोगों को थोड़ा धरती पे लाना चाहिए before they move out. क्या करना है? So they had defined an assignment. So there, in one of the semesters, every student has to organize a seminar. Okay, one student, one seminar is to be organized. And the person, the resource person for that seminar should be the CEO of a company whose turnover is more than 200 crores or whatever. They have defined some condition. Okay, that's 2. Number 3, he has to do all the arrangement required for that seminar. Okay, the booking the hall, booking the slot. Okay, generally the slot would be at around 2:30 in the afternoon, post lunch, and everything he has to do. And then the last was, the most challenging was, he should get at least 150 people attending that seminar. So if he could do all these things, he will clear that assignment. So you know, in doing all these things, he will just come on the earth. Because everything else he can do, but getting 150 people for that 2:30 slot, making them sit there, is a big challenge. It's a very simple exercise. He said it's worked. Everybody felt, everybody got to know how difficult it is and how humble you should be to ensure that you get proper response. So there are many such things. It's possible. Academic institutes, the education institutes can certainly do. The kids are good. The generation, though it's new generation, but they can certainly do. Though we always say, please note their attention span is 8 seconds. As per the latest research, I've been talking to you for 10-12 minutes. It has already gone beyond their limits because 8 seconds they can only capture. That's those small reels are becoming very popular. Now even the small reels are getting smaller than 8 seconds. 8 seconds से ज़्यादा गया तो कोई ये पता नहीं चलता उनको. So let us do something good. Again, pranamas to Gurudev ji. Wonderful philosophy. Of course, at Jamkhand University, we have planned to start a study center in philosophy. Certainly, we would love to, of course, we are already in touch with Jirli ji to have some kind of an association with ACPR, and we want to do something good as we move on. Once again, thank you so much for inviting me and giving me an opportunity with you this afternoon. Thank you.
Two people, and so much of things to learn from these two great teachers. I like to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Sandeep Nair sir, a good friend, a mentor, a guide, Registrar Evaluation, Chanakya University, Bengaluru, and Dr. Anand Deshpande sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Bagalkot University. Thank you for your time and sharing your valuable inputs and enlightening us, and especially the students. Even if there is one student who has paid attention and heard these great teachers whom I admire and respect after so many years of teaching on my side also, even if there is one student that has taken one piece of learning, I'm sure that it will be a great asset for you for the rest of your life. Thank you for your time again, sir.